Hi, I'm Lily, and my partner Christine are here today to talk about a comparative study of toxic leadership between Megatron and Scar. So, to get started, Scar was the brother of Mufasa in the Disney movie The Lion King, and in this movie, power was passed through genes, or not genes, but hierarchy. So, since Mufasa was born first, Scar wasn't able to be born into the leadership role. And since Simba, Mufasa's son, was the here Scar wasn't able to take on that leadership role until he was able to cast out both of them for a certain period of time. To gain this upper hand, he had to manipulate the hyenas and destroy anything that stood in his way in order to gain leverage and eventually take control over the lion pack.
And then the other character we have is Megatron. He's from the Transformers. He's the leader of the Decepticons, and he rules by threatening and with violence. After the Great War, he came to Earth and opposed the Autobots to gain world dominance. So when you look at leadership psychology, both Megatron and Scar fall into the great man theory, where Megatron believes he was born to lead, and only few are chosen. In Scar, leaders were born into their positions. He was not the original true leader. He had to create that position.
Exactly. And in regards to the power approach, Megatron closely followed the power approach. However, instead of having the power to reward his followers, he yielded the power to punish them instead.
In the situational approach, Megatron was in the right place at the right time. After war, he made himself the leader.
And in the contingency approach, Scar created events to place him in a leadership role which were the perfect match between him and the given circumstances in the movie. So, overall, Scar and Megatron were both destructive leaders. However, he was really manipulative, especially toward the hyenas, and had no regards to his followers. If you watch the movie, he was severely punishing the hyenas when they didn't follow out an order properly, and he essentially personalized his use of power through the toxic triangle that you can see right here. He was in a very conductive environment and used an opportunity to kill Mufasa and manipulate Simba to leave the lion pack.
Yeah, and so while Megatron is also very destructive, he's also egocentric. He doesn't have any regards for his followers, and he uses his personalized use of power. The Decepticons are both susceptible followers, whereas Scar's followers were more conformers. Megatron's followers are more colluders, because they share some of the same goals. They do want world dominance also. It was a very conducive environment, because whenever you have an evil, you need good. So good versus evil over world dominance.
Precisely. And through this qualitative comparative analysis, the behavioral tendencies were based off of their subordinates, the violence that they caused, their narcissistic tendencies, their manipulation tactics, and coercion. And then their followers tended to conform and also collude with what they want. Scar and Megatron wanted them to do.
Right. And so if you look at our results, you'll see that we looked at with power. They both have a thirst for power. Well, Scar wanted the throne for his own gain. He has a high performance and low in trust.
Yeah.
Megatron, on the other hand, desired for world dominance, and his statement was, the only thing that matters is what he wants. He's high performance also in low trust.
Precisely. In regards to followers, the hyenas were manipulated to follow and help Scar overthrow traditional leadership conformers. And then Megatron, although his followers share the goal of acquiring world domination, Megatron believes his followers were expendable and also colluders.
Yeah, and with violence, they both use violence to achieve what their goal is. Scar actually kills the rightful leader and tricks Simba into leaving the pack, and the hyenas fear Scar, and they never did get what he promised. So they follow because of fear. Megatron uses threats and violence also to control his followers.
Regarding narcissism, Scar needed a lot of validation because he wanted to be the king, but didn't know the responsibilities that followed with it. Megatron believed power belonged to those who knew how to rule, and since he also showed high levels of narcissism, he just believed that he was only fit to rule the entire world.
Yeah, and they used manipulation tactics such as Scar promises hyenas things that they don't deliver, and Megatron threatens those that get in his way. Anybody who tries to compete with him, he eliminates them.
With coercion, both of these characters used violence, especially toward those that opposed them and even those that were standing with them.
So it was with our analysis with Haslam's contingency approach, Megatron and Scar's leadership was influenced by the environment they were placed in. For example, Scar stepped into leadership after he murdered Mufasa and had separated Simba from the Pride. Megatron was given authority based on the lack of opposing force against Optimus Prime. Given the permissible toxic leadership position, Scar was able to manipulate the hyenas into giving him a leadership role in the Lion Pride, while Megatron was able to form the Decepticons.
Exactly, and ultimately, Scar had members of the hyena gang to support him, and then Megatron ruled the Decepticons, which was a considerably larger group compared to Scar. So the power, ultimately Megatron had more power compared to Scar, but the situations are a little bit more different.
Yeah, and then with follower loyalty, neither one of their followers followed because of loyalty. The hyenas had no loyalty to Scar because he made promises that he didn't keep. And the lionesses certainly were not loyal to him. And Megatron had no loyalty. He basically because he just used them to get what he wanted.
In regards to competition, Scar killed his brother for the king title and then eventually banished Simba from the Lion Pride by gaslighting him into believing that Simba was the one that killed Mufasa, but in reality, it was actually Scar. And then Megatron just eliminated anybody that was in his way.
Right, so let's look at their achievements. Scar doesn't maintain his leadership over the lionesses. He does get the king title for a short period of time. And Megatron never does obtain world dominance, but he does lead the Decepticons.
Yeah, and in regard to the environment, Scar was just kind of limited to the jungle. It wasn't nothing too big compared to Megatron, where Megatron's environment was more futuristic, and there were more enemies opposing him, and there were also more members that were allegedly on his side to help gain his power.
So let's look at their results. If they, what their leadership was able to accomplish. Scar ended up dying. In the end of the movie, if you watch the movie, he dies because Simba comes back and kills him. And then with Megatron, he never does succeed. In all the fights that he has with the Autobots, he loses.
Precisely. And then we have our references listed at the bottom. It's all thanks to these references that we were able to conduct this qualitative comparative analysis in order to show the toxic leadership between Megatron and Scar. So, other than that, thank you.